In the Kitchen, episode 17, seasoned grilled salmon with broccoli. Right to left, Foreman grill, butter brush, knife, 2 salmon fillets, cilantro, broccoli, romaine lettuce, olive oil, melted butter, seasonings, 3/4 teaspoon Old Bay, 1/2 teaspoon garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon Himalayan pink salt. The first thing I'd like to do is put olive oil on my grill. I've got my grill set at medium. You reach over, get some olive oil, put a little bit on my paper. Go ahead and rub my top grill plate first. It's always a good idea to put some oil on your grill plates before you start cooking, just to give you a quick, consistent cook. Now these are non-stick grill plates, by the way, but it's still a good idea to put that oil on there just to make sure everything cooks smoothly. Wiping my bottom grill plate. And now I'll season my salmon. The first thing I like to do before seasoning my salmon is I like to rub olive oil on. So I'll put some olive oil on my glove, not too much. Doesn't take a lot, and you can spread it evenly by rubbing the gloves together. Pick up the fillet and just kind of turn it in your hand and make sure you get that oil soaked in. And what that does is it helps your seasonings to soak in once you put them on. So it's really a good idea to put a little olive oil on the salmon and make sure you rub it in before you put those seasonings on, because it's just going to help, and it's definitely going to add to the overall flavor of the dish. First seasoning I'm going to put on, of course, is one of my favorites, Old Bay. I'm going to basically just sprinkle my Old Bay on top first. Then I'm going to turn. I'm going to try to get a little bit on all sides. That's really a good way to season it. And essentially, once I get it on all sides, I can just rub and it'll soak into the fillets. Let me check this one. Make sure I got it. All right, so that's the Old Bay, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and rub. I'm gonna go ahead and rub my Old Bay in. It's important to me to get that Old Bay seasoning in here first, because to me, that brings out great flavor in the seafood. It doesn't take long to do it. You just want to be consistent with it. So that's the Old Bay, right? So the next thing I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to rinse my hands off really quick. I'm going to come back, and now we're going to go with some Himalayan pink salt. So I'll take my Himalayan pink salt, and I'll just tap it. I want you guys to be able to see me. So I got to move my hands a little bit. But I'll just gently sprinkle some on top, and I'm going to try to get this on all sides as well. I'm not going to go too heavy with it because I also want to have some left over so I can put on my broccoli. And as you turn, you can just rub, as you turn. Just put that right there, turn it over a little bit. Turn it on this side. And you can rub as you turn too, that way you won't lose anything. I think that's the last side. That'll work. Now I can rub that salt in. And of course, Himalayan pink salt is great because it tends to have a more of a kick to it when it comes to flavoring meats versus regular iodized salt. Plus, it's just healthier. It's healthier. So I got my Himalayan pink salt on. Let's go with a little garlic powder. Now the garlic powder, of course, to me, I like it better than garlic salt because I'm using Himalayan pink salt anyway, so I don't want to over salt my meat. And I'm just gonna rub this garlic salt just on like one side, right? And the reason I'm doing that is because garlic, a little goes a long way. So you don't really need to really do too much. You can rub on that top side. Then you can take some of that and just spread it just a little bit. So I'm good with that. And you see I got a pretty good amount of garlic powder and Himalayan pink salt left over. I can basically use that to season my broccoli, and I'll show you that once we get to it. So at this moment, I got my salmon fillets ready to go. I'm gonna let them sit here though, because I want everything to really cook consistently, and I'm gonna cook everything at the same time. So I'll be grilling my salmon and my broccoli at the same time on the Foreman grill. Now, let me go ahead and get my broccoli chopped, and I'll be moving forward so we can get to the point where we can put everything on the grill. I wash my hands. I'm gonna switch my boards around. And we're gonna get this broccoli cut. Move my cilantro on this side. So you can clearly see I got my broccoli here. I'm gonna basically chop so I can get my good cuts of broccoli. Technically, you just have to chop maybe midway through that stem to get those broccoli cuts. So I got that done. Quick and simple. Got my broccoli ready. Now, what I'm gonna do with this broccoli is I'm gonna go ahead and put a little butter on it right now. So I'll take my butter brush, dip it in my butter here. I'm gonna just lightly glaze the top of each one of these pieces of broccoli. Give me a little more butter. When I say lightly glazed, I mean that's a matter of perspective. Because sometimes I like to go heavy on it. I just use the word lightly. But what this does is really is gonna bring out the flavor in this broccoli once it's done, because it's gonna go on this Foreman grill, and it's definitely gonna be like grilled broccoli, but it's also gonna be really tender because of this butter. And of course, I'm just gonna go back over each one. All right. Turn them so you can see them. So I got my broccoli glazed with my butter. Now I'm gonna put a little seasoning on my broccoli. Now the first thing I'm gonna do is put some of this Himalayan pink salt on. I'm just gonna put I'm gonna really take it with my fingers and take it out of the spoon and just sprinkle a little bit because I don't want to go too heavy with it. And I don't want it to be uneven. So I'm gonna just, you see how I'm taking it out of the spoon? And I'm just giving you a little sprinkle. That's really a good way to season when you don't want to over salt. It's just enough, to bring some flavor out. And get it evenly distributed too. All right. Now I'm gonna put a little garlic powder on my broccoli too, and I'm gonna essentially do it the same way. I'll put my fingers in the spoon, the seasoning, and just lightly go across the top of each one of these pieces of broccoli. Yeah, this is gonna be really good when it comes off of the grill, I can tell you that. I'll kind of stop right there. Now, I'm ready to put my salmon fillets and my broccoli on the grill. All right, first I'm gonna put my broccoli on the grill. Go ahead and get my broccoli cuts right. I'm gonna put these on the top side of my grill. I'll try to put the bigger pieces further up top. Move it around just a little bit so you can see that. So I got my broccoli cuts on the top of the grill. Now I'm going to take my salmon fillets and put those on the lower side of the grill. Just work it just like that. One more piece of broccoli. Put that right here. And put it right here on this side. Okay. Now, of course, we're looking at a total cook time of maybe somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes because I've got my grill set on medium. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and close it, but the way I'm going to close it, this is the type of Foreman grill, and I've showed, this grill has been on a previous episode, and I showed you how it worked where you can pull the back up and tilt it, and it's got a little slide lock on this back side where you can kind of lock it in where it's tilted. That way, what's on the front of the grill is actually having pressure applied to it by this top side of this grill. What's on the what's on the upper back part of the grill, there's not a lot of pressure being applied. And that's why I put that broccoli on the back. That way it's not gonna burn. I don't have to worry about it overcooking. It's gonna be just right. While the salmon fillets on this bottom side, the grill is actually pressing down on those. So it's gonna cook very well. That's why you get that even cook. If you wanna cook a vegetable and a meat on a Foreman grill, this is one of the best type of grills to have. You can tilt that back side up and it's got that lock on the back and it'll just stay tilted like this. So I'm gonna leave it on medium. I might actually turn it up just a little bit because I'm thinking that it might take about 7 to 10 minutes total if I turn it all the way. If I go about this high, that's where you're probably gonna get your 7 to 10 minutes at. So give me a few moments. I'm not gonna make you wait the whole 7 to 10 minutes. So we're gonna let this cook. Now we're at about 3.5 minutes now, and I'm gonna check. So So you see how the salmon is beginning to cook pretty well. It's cooking evenly. You see my broccoli. You can tell, you see it's got the grill marks on it. Now the one thing I know I'm gonna have to do with this broccoli is I might have to put a little bit more butter on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And the reason I'm doing that is just so it doesn't crisp. I want it to be moist, and I know that grill is hot. So I gotta make sure I keep that butter on there just a little bit, just a little more. It's really up to you. Depends on how you really like your broccoli. When you put it on a grill, it tends to cook pretty fast. It's good to keep it buttered, because that way you don't have to worry about it overcooking. And like I said, with this type of Foreman grill, it's got that tilt on it, so it should be fine. Now, one of the things I could also do is turn it, and I think I probably will do that. I'll turn it over just a little bit, and I can do that with my hands. It's not too hot. It's hot, but it's not too hot where I can't touch it with the hands, especially I got the gloves on. So I'm fine with that. But you really want to keep checking it. And like I said, the whole cook time, we're probably looking at somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes. I'm probably at about minute 5 at this point. I'm trying to keep up with how many minutes. I'm timing it. And we're going to check back on it in about another couple of minutes just to see where we're at. Now we're at 8 minutes. You see I'm opening up my grill. Now, one of the things I like to do when I get to this point, because we're almost finished cooking, it's almost done, I like to put a little bit of olive oil on my broccoli. Just drip a little bit on each piece. And what that's going to do is give us that proper tenderness that we're looking for. I'm also going to just drip a little bit on the top of the salmon. Just a little. I'm going to close the grill one more time for like 1 minute. And we should be ready after this 1 minute. All right, 1 minute has passed. Let me lift it up. Ooh, it's ready. I smell that aroma coming off. Woo! It's definitely ready. I got my plate ready. Put this down here, slide it over a little bit too so you can see it. Now I know you've been wondering, hey, you haven't really even talked about the cilantro and the romaine yet. Well, we're about to talk about that now. So what I'm gonna do is take 1 leaf of my romaine lettuce. I'm gonna sit that right here. Let me turn this around. Still got my cilantro. I'm gonna show you what I'm about to do with that. So let me take my salmon off. Now first what I wanna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut each piece of this salmon in half. You check my broccoli. Oh yeah, that's nice, that's nice. It's tender. So I'll go ahead and start taking my salmon off. I'm gonna just set it in half sections right here on my romaine. Oh, that salmon looks good and it smells excellent. I mean, it's, ooh, that's nice. A nice dish. Now I'm still looking at my broccoli. It's ready. It's ready to come off. Let me turn it over just a little bit. I'll flip them over just a little. I want to keep it hot, while I get my dish prepared like I want it. Now, I got my cilantro, but what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna take my butter brush, right? I'm gonna get a little bit more butter on that brush. I'm gonna brush my salmon. Brush it with the butter. And this is coming out lovely. I got my cilantro. And what I'm going to do with the cilantro is just break individual cilantro leaves off and put those on my salmon fillets. Cilantro brings out flavor in any dish, and it absolutely brings out flavor when you're dealing with salmon. I love cilantro. I love it. Cilantro leaves right there. You see that? Let me take that broccoli off. It's grilled. It's ready to go. Slide this up a little bit. Got my grilled broccoli. It's absolutely ready. I want you to be able to see that. It's ready to rock and roll. See that? Man, that's a dish, isn't it? I'll put a little more cilantro on here. It's ready. I got my grilled seasoned salmon with broccoli. It smells so great. The aroma coming off of this. And that broccoli, ooh, it's so tender. The butter, the garlic. Let's try the salmon. Yeah.